Hi everybody, happy Saturday. Welcome back to Clues by Sam, our daily one. We're gonna do a hard one today, so that's really exciting. And if you don't know what Clues by Sam is, it is a daily logic puzzle game where there are 20 people on a board, each of which is either a criminal or an innocent, and you gotta figure out what they are using the clues that they themselves might give you. And if you wanna play 2 days as well, there is a link in the description to take you to the daily one. And yeah, I'm really excited for this. I'm going to start mine right now and I'm going to explain my logic as I go so you can follow along if you want to. It's really interesting that we don't see the first clue today, but it is Maria's. Exactly 2 of the 3 criminals below Claire are Vicky's neighbors. So below Claire, there's 4 people. 3 of them are criminals, and 2 of those 3 neighbor Vicky. So, of the people who are below Claire, 2 neighbor Vicky. So that means that both of them have to be criminals. And we have either Nick or John as the 3rd criminal who's below Claire, right? Now, Sam says that exactly 2 of the 10 criminals on the edges are Peter's neighbors. So Peter has 3 people neighboring him on the edges. 2 of those are criminals, and the clue also says that there's 10 criminals total. So let's leave that clue there for later. One that says that column C is the only column with exactly 2 innocents. So we know that either Nick or John are going to be one of the innocents in column C, and the second person to be an innocent can only be Claire. And now we also know that this column is the only one with 2 innocents. Claire says that Olaf is one of 2 criminals in between Flora and Xena. So Olaf is a criminal. And there's a second criminal among these 3 people. So that's either Kevin or Tina. To total 2 between Flora and Xena. And now Olaf says that exactly 1 criminal neighboring him is to the right of Hall. Where's Hall? Hall has 3 people to his right, 2 of which neighbor Olaf. And one of those is a criminal. The other one is an innocent because there's only 1 person to the right of Hall who neighbors Olaf and is a criminal. What does that mean for us? Guess I don't know yet. But do we have any new clues? We know that there's gonna be 1 innocent here, right? It was either Kevin or Tina. Okay? So, column D couldn't have only 1 more innocent because that will make it have 2 innocents total. So it's either both Xena and Flora are criminals or both of them are innocents. So that column D isn't left with 2 innocents. But how does that help me? Does that have to do with the 10 criminals on the edges? Or I don't know why I feel that I read Olaf's clue kinda weirdly. So exactly 1 criminal neighboring him is to the right of Hall. That's true. But what does that mean to me? Because what if John is an innocent? That makes Kevin a criminal and Nick a criminal as well. And that makes Tina an innocent. So that works. That's totally fine. If John is a criminal, that makes both Kevin and Nick innocent, and that makes Tina a criminal. That's also totally fine. So I don't think we have anything we can get out of this scenario. There's 10 criminals on the edges, and 2 of those are Peter's neighbors. So let's say that Emma and Vicky both are criminals. That will make Laura an innocent. And does that help me with something? How many criminals we have so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we would need 5 more to total 10. How many people on the edges are there besides these? We counted. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 more people. So that means that only one of them is an instant. Let me put this back. And let me think about something. If we make both Flora and Xena instance because Olaf doesn't have to do with Olaf, but because column D couldn't have 3 or 2 instance, sorry. If we make both of them instance, then how many criminals do we have on the edges? Assuming that Tina is a criminal and Kevin is innocent, which is something that might happen. How many criminals could we have on the edges now? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we would need 5 more to total 10. And that would be impossible. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we couldn't have both Flora and Xena be innocents. And like I said before, we couldn't have one of them be an innocent and the other one a criminal because that will make column D have 2 innocents. And it's only column C that has 2 innocents. So both Flora and Xena have to be criminal. That makes perfect sense to me. And we put back in Kevin back in the pink situation here. And now we have Flora's clue. Exactly 2 of Nick's 4 criminal neighbors also neighbor Wanda. So Nick and Wanda share 3 people as neighbors. 2 of them are criminals. So that means that Ruth and Tina are one a criminal and the other one an innocent. And we also know that Nick has 4 criminal neighbors. One of them is Olaf. The other one is Sam. The third one is either going to be Ruth or Tina. And the fourth one is either going to be John or Kevin, right? So that makes Ivan an innocent. And does that work in... I don't want to do the guess yet. I want to confirm that this works in either scenario. Like, let's say that John is a criminal. That will make Kevin an innocent. And Nick as well. Which would make Tina a criminal. And Ruth an innocent. So does that mean that Nick has 4 innocents and 4 criminals? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that works. What if it were the other way? What if John were a criminal? That will make... what if John were an innocent? That will make Nick a criminal, Kevin a criminal, and Tina an innocent. And because of Tina, now Ruth will be a criminal. And does Nick still have 4 criminal neighbors? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that works. We know that Ivan is an innocent. And it's good to be able to confirm with the tags. Even though it makes a bit of a mess, we can be sure of ourselves when we do the guess. So I guess we don't need Flora's clue anymore, right? Ivan now says that I have exactly 4 criminal neighbors. So Ivan also has 4 criminal neighbors. And that means that because he has 8 neighbors total, he has 4 instant neighbors as well. So how many instant neighbors Ivan does have already? Claire is one of them, Maria is the second one, and the third one is either going to be John or Nick. The other 4 people who neighbor Ivan are all on the edges, which means that one of them has to be the last innocent on the edge, right? Because we figured out how many criminals we have on the edges already. Let's say that Laura and Uma, who neighbor Peter, are both criminals because Peter has 2 criminals neighboring him on the edges. Vicky is then an innocent. If the other person to neighbor Ivan besides Laura. That's an interesting thing. Because what if Laura were an innocent? And then Vicky and Uma were both criminals. Because Laura is shared by Ivan and Peter. And now Peter has his 2 criminals neighboring him on the edges. Laura is an innocent. And she is the 4th person to neighbor Ivan. That will make everybody else who neighbors Ivan a criminal. Did I say for person? She's the fourth innocent neighbor Ivan. So the total 4 innocents are complete. How many criminals do we have on the edges now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That will make Peter an innocent as well. If, on the other hand, Laura were a criminal, I don't know if I'm looking at the right thing, but let's just say that it was Laura who is the criminal. That will make somebody else appear neighboring Ivan an innocent so that Ivan could have 4 innocent neighbors, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many criminals do we have on the edges now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're gonna have 9 here, which would make Peter a criminal. So what have we figured out? I have exactly 4 criminal neighbors. It all depends on Laura, is it? Is it? Because that was interesting for me. So that Peter and Laura are the same. Oh, but now in this scenario, there's column A with 2 instances. And that couldn't happen. Column C is the only column with 2 instances only. So we couldn't have Laura be a criminal. But if Ben is an instant, that works. So let's not jump ahead of ourselves here. Because now column A doesn't have 2 instances, column B doesn't have 2 instances, it has 3. So this works. That's not what we have to be looking at. What we have to be looking at is or it could even be that Ben is a criminal and Austin is an innocent, but then Uma is a criminal and Vicky is an innocent. That makes the same thing happen. What was it in the previous scenario that made it impossible? Let's make Laura an innocent, Peter. Oh, let's make Laura an innocent. Now we know that everybody else who neighbors Ivan is a criminal. And everybody else who neighbors Peter is a criminal on the edge. Right? Now that will make Peter an innocent, right? So we can total 10 criminals on the edges. Let's start with Laura. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the 10th one is either Kevin or Tina. So that's why Peter is an innocent. But now for sure, column A has 2 instances. And there's no way to make the scenario work without that happening. Because if Laura is an innocent, the only other person who could be an innocent in this column is Peter. And we couldn't have, for example, Laura be an innocent and Vicky be an innocent, Peter being a criminal. Because Peter can only have 1 innocent neighboring him on the edge. So Laura has to be a criminal. Okay, and now she says that, glad we found a great hiding place for the socks. So they're stealing socks now? Are we sure that Peter is a criminal then? Because of Laura. Are we? Because now Peter is gonna have 1 instant neighboring him down here. So that's either Uma or Vicky. And could it be Uma? If it were Uma, that would make Vicky a criminal and it doesn't matter for Peter so far. Ivan would have to have 1 more instant also. Could it be Austin? I know it couldn't because I'm making the scenario, I'm forcing the scenario not to work, right? Ivan's gonna have 1 instant neighboring him on the edge, and Peter's gonna have 1 instant neighboring him on the edge. So considering that, and starting with Flora, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 instants. We would need a 9th and a 10th. What? Oh, I didn't count Kevin and Tina. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th with either Kevin or Tina. The 10th one has to be Peter, so we are sure that he's a criminal. Okay, that makes sense. Good. I'm going slowly today, making sure of every guess, which is interesting because it's a hard one. Peter says that, not an evil one, I mean, Peter says that there are more instants in row 1 than row 4. So we know how many instants are in row 4, only 1, which means that row 1 couldn't have 1 only, and it already does have 1, that's Claire. So we know that the second person neighboring, we know that the second instant in row 1 is the instant neighboring Ivan on the edge here. So that makes Hall a criminal. And Ben and Austin are one. An instant, the other one a criminal. I'm using a lot of tags today. Wouldn't it be fun if we had free color tags and we could do the color wheel thing? I know it's impractical, but that would be funny. Maybe just add more for situations like this where we have so many scenarios to differentiate. Hall says now there's an odd number of instants neighboring Claire. Claire has one instant neighboring her down here, that's Ivan. She's gonna have a second one who's either John or Kevin. So she needs a third one to make an odd number, and that can only be Ben. So Ben is an instant, which makes Austin a criminal. And now Ben says there's an odd number of instants neighboring Wanda. So where's Wanda? Wanda, same thing. She's gonna have one instant up here in row 4. So she couldn't have a second one because that would be an even number. So that means that Vicky is not an instant. She's a criminal. That makes Uma an instant. And now Vicky says that there are as many criminal cooks as there are criminal farmers. So we have 3 cooks and 2 farmers, it looks like. Unless my scanning is as terrible as it could be today. And that means that if there are 2 farmers, which is the most criminal farmers there could ever be, there has to be 2 cooks who are criminal. We couldn't have 3 criminal cooks, right? Let's make Kevin, the second farmer, an instant and see if only one of the cooks is an instant. That will make John a criminal. Because of John, that will make Nick an instant. And because of Kevin, Tina will be a criminal. And that will make Ruth an instant. We have only 1 criminal cook and only 1 criminal farmer. So that abides to the clue. If we made Kevin a criminal, that will make John an instant and Nick a criminal. That will make Tina an instant and Ruth a criminal. Now we have 3 criminal cooks and only 2 criminal farmers. So that doesn't work. We need to make Kevin an instant, which will make John a criminal, which will make Nick an instant, which will make Tina a criminal, which will make Ruth an instant. And we are done the puzzle. So that was a great one. How long was that? Less than 20 minutes. That's okay for me. Like, I really like that I took my time. I did my explaining really slowly and made a lot of... I simulated a lot of the scenarios so I could make sure, even though I had a hunch. So that's how we avoid the yellows. And use the tags. And if people start requesting more tags, then probably Sam's gonna add more. So it's pretty cool that we can be a part of the community and make the game better. And I'm gonna leave this video here, but I have a couple of announcements to make. First one is that next week from Monday, I'm gonna be traveling for work, and I'm not really sure that I'm gonna be able to record those videos daily because I have to record them all the day, so I'm not sure I'm gonna have the time to do that. I'm gonna leave a few pre-recorded ones of the bonus ones so I can post them along the week. but not sure I'm gonna do the daily ones. Maybe we do a compilation when I get back of all the ones from the whole week. Let me know what you think about that. And I'll also be going live later today at 5 BRT. And what else? What else do I have to say? I think that was it, so I'm gonna leave this here, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you tomorrow for more Clues by Sam, hopefully an Eva one, and yeah, bye bye.